very warm welcome to the Medjack Global Webinar Series version 4.0, a fourth iteration to a Medjack webinar series initiated in 2021. Topic for today's webinar is Tech Linked Innovation, the Road to Immortality. The Medjack Global Webinar Series V4.0 is dedicated to uncovering the untapped potential of innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship within the realm of healthcare and beyond. By bringing together like-minded individuals, the series aims to illuminate new possibilities and expand horizons with insights from accomplished guest innovators, creators, entrepreneurs, researchers, and educators. For a little bit of background for the audience who have newly joined us, Medjack first ebook referred to as a toolkit or playbook for serial innovators and entrepreneurs interested in low-cost, low-tech processes in healthcare and beyond. The amazing work in form of Medjack has been penned down by a total of 14 co-authors and is an indelible contribution by each of them. Today, our conversation starter is Chapter 8 of Medjack, Text Linked to Innovation, the Road to Immortality. With that, I would like to proceed and introduce our esteemed moderator for the evening, Dr. Sathyamoorthy, physician by profession, currently serving as Professor Emergency Medicine in the Department of AD, aka VH. An author, blogger, innovator, whenever he's off, an itinerant observer, a creativist, an innovation enthusiast, mentoring many to pursue the calling in life. Welcome, Dr. Asad. Thank you for hosting the evening for us.
Thank you.
And now I would like to introduce a guest for the webinar today. We have with us Asma Rayani. She is a Master of Science candidate in epidemiology at the prestigious Johns Hopkins University, Bloomberg, in the School of Public Health. Her involvement as a graduate research trainee at the Wells Center, Director of Education for the Digital Health Society, and Community Service Chair for the Johns Hopkins Graduate Muslim Student Association, underscores her commitment to health education and community service. Asma serves on various committees, including the organizing committees for the Global Digital Health Summit and the Johns Hopkins Global Surgery Symposium. She is a recipient of the Khan Foundation International Scholarship, passionately working towards her goal of becoming a physician scientist to promote equitable healthcare access. Joining her is Dr. Sathyamoorthy, also a Master of Science candidate in epidemiology at Johns Hopkins, with a specialization in early cancer prevention and prediction. With a solid foundation in dentistry and oral pathology, Dr. Sathyamoorthy has dedicated his career to biomarker discovery and the use of AI in medical diagnostics. His research focuses on vulnerable populations, analyzing critical intersections between HIV and cancer. Dr. Medjack is a vital community advocate serving in several leadership roles that enhance healthcare access and literacy. He recently received the GHEFP GK Fellowship for his field research in India, demonstrating his commitment to advancing cancer prevention and public health education. A very warm welcome to both of our guests in a webinar. Just to mention a few housekeeping rules for the audience before we engage in conversation with a guest. We would appreciate for the audience to mute their mics and turn off the video for the session. All your questions, comments, and queries will be entertained through and through in our chat space, and your interaction will be highly appreciated. With that, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Asad to engage in conversation with the guest.
Thank you very much, Ayman, and welcome once again, Asma and Rishi. Really do appreciate your taking out the time. Essentially, I thought that I'll flip the thing this time around, since you put me on the spot. Now I'm going to put you on the spot, and let's see how it goes. We will not follow the outline nor the questions that we shared with you, so that the spotlight's really going to be on you, okay? I'm just joking. I'll try not to keep it very hard or anything like that, but it should be a fun conversation. Thank you for our audience, Jahangir and Rabia, who are who are here, and we'd love it if you are more interactive as well, and you can put any questions or comments in the chat space, or you can unmute yourselves and then please feel free to ask questions. Okay. And Eamon, thank you for getting us started and for introducing the book, the chapter. I don't know if you introduced the chapter, but you introduced us, and I do appreciate that. So Asma and Rishi, several months back, I guess, you looped me into the digital health, global digital health conference, and it was through the Bloomberg School of Public Health and Johns Hopkins University. The chapter that we picked for you was chapter 8 of Medjack. And for people who are not familiar with Medjack, it's a book that is our experience of low cost and relatively low tech healthcare innovation or other kinds of innovation. And we packaged all of that into a book with 10 chapters. Chapter 8 was text linked to innovation. What first of all, did you like read the chapter? And if you did not read the chapter, that's quite okay. But if you did read the chapter, what were your thoughts around the examples that were given in the chapter? And prior to that, actually, please do share some of the examples that were given in that chapter. And this question is open to both of you. I can ask Asma to go in first, and then Rishi, you please add.
All right. I was hoping you're not going to follow alphabetical order, but you did. So that's completely fine. Thank you so much for having us. Before I go to the examples, I just want to give a shout out to you because I was following your team actually, and that's how I was able to we were able to get you on the summit. It was back when I was working at the Aga Khan University Hospital as a medical officer. And we used to follow the work that the center was doing. And I just wanted to thank you because I feel like there's so much talent in Pakistan. There's so many things, that we can do to leverage that talent. And you taking that initiative, bringing fellows every year and providing them the kind of exposure, which is similar to the kind of experience we get at Hopkins, is just incredible. I want to first highlight this particular, I would say, it's a passage on page 1 in background paragraph 3. It says the life cycle of a technology is initiated through scientific idea or theory, which then translates into inventions. This part of the spectrum generally requires specialized knowledge possessed by scientists, engineers, and other relevant experts, and so on and so forth. I just want to highlight this point here that when we talk about technology and when we talk about innovation, I think the idea is also always preceded by curiosity and your observation. We tend not to give so much credit to the observation and then to the knowledge itself. But I think having that keen eye and then that observation that, okay, there is something that is there and it can be, I mean, the intention is not always to fix it. It is like, to improvise it, to modify it, to make it better. So I think observation is so important. And then it should always follow, the curiosity should always come, second, because just having observation and not being able to do anything about it is there. And then I think the observation, curiosity then leads in, takes a form of scientific idea if you add knowledge to it, because, you want to call it scientific. So I want to talk, so I just wanted to highlight that point. In terms of, example, I think on page 6, you provide this example of the pain-free invisible needle, which was a startup idea that came out of the PAIDS hackathon that was conducted in 2017. And actually, I was very pleased that one of the medical student had actually, got this entire interdisciplinary team to work on this. And I think the idea of targeting children, the fear around it. So I think these examples really, one thing that really caught my attention when I was reading about this example is understanding that some of the solutions are global like, I mean, the fear in children is like something that's global, right? I mean, children are afraid of needle regardless where they live. So I think this having these kind of examples really really broaden your horizons in terms of like thinking and understanding how the innovation at the end of the day is kind of universal. We might have to tailor certain things to the other based on, the environment or the surrounding that you're working in. So I'll stop here and let Rishikesh continue the conversation.
Yeah, and I'll do my due diligence in thanking Dr. Asad for giving me this opportunity again, and the moderator to have introduced us with such sweet words. And I think the positive thing about being the first person to answer is you get to pick your options, and I'm left with no other choice but to find something else. But I'll try to. I had a similar example in mind that I'll try to modify a little bit and talk. But before I go ahead, when I was reading the chapter, I don't know if you guys have watched this movie, Three Idiots. So I remembered the definition of the word machine, anything that reduces human effort. So I really think that's what technology is all about. It makes our life easy, and that's kind of what makes us super beings, I guess. But yeah, like, and adding on to what Asma said about curiosity, it's very important because um, it's a well-known saying that necessity is the mother of invention, but I also believe curiosity is the father of innovation. And it's really important for us to understand that we should have these ideas in mind, should dream big, but also put that into action, and that's what will make things better. But particular examples that I really liked was also pain-free invisible needle, because I understand kids are scared, but it's not just kids, right? Like a lot of people I know who are like 25, 30, or even some of my family members who are like greater than 50 years of age, they get scared. They are like, oh, I have to get a blood test done. I have to get a needle. They'll suck the blood out of me. And everyone's like really scared of it. So I think that's a really cool innovation to have. And also another example that I really liked was render, which is like Tinder for the scientific community, because everything is becoming virtual these days. So people don't interact anymore because everyone is like sitting in close quarters and attending lectures. Uh, so much so that even medical advice is becoming virtual. Like people don't have to go to clinics anymore. But that's kind of how the world has changed. So I feel like render makes like it takes it's that silver lining in the situation where things are not social anymore. So yeah, I really like those two examples, and I'd like to stop here. And yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you for keeping your answers kind of on point as well, so we can keep moving. But it's good to uh, get those examples. What connected with you? Um, how do you Rishi? So how do you define digital health? What's your personal take? I don't. I'm not expecting like a textbook answer or something like that. But digital health, because that's how we connected through this global digital health summit at Hopkins, right? And so, what's your personal take on digital health, and how do you make any kind of like linkage between the chapter, because it does talk about electronic health record as one example. It's a very oft quoted example, and it's kind of boring because now I think even EHR is kind of like old fashioned, in my opinion. But what is your personal take on digital health?
So, thank you for that question. I think it's just an extension of what I had said earlier. So, digital health is essentially using technology into achieving better health outcomes, right? So, I think humans can make mistakes, and when humans overwork, the efficiency of the work also goes down, and machines don't are more efficient and don't make as many mistakes. So it's just leveraging the what machine can offer into making things better for us, especially in terms of health settings. And that's true of electronic health records as well, because if everything is manual, you're writing something, you make one mistake in one word, and that can sometimes change the whole diagnosis. So having electronic health records can be useful. So I really think leveraging what machines can and what humans cannot for a long time into achieving better health outcomes is what digital health is.
Okay, yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. And it's a very practical and functional approach as well. And so there are a lot of different examples, I guess, within digital health. And so, Asma, what would you consider to be your favorite? What's your favorite tech-based innovation, perhaps? So that would be a bit more broader, but like, yeah, it could be digital health related. And why is it your favorite? Is it something that you utilize and hence it's your favorite, or just because it's a cool idea, it's cool tech?
So I think I want to answer your first question that, or maybe the first part of the question that you had asked Rishikesh, what my idea or what my perspective around digital health is. That is not based on any textbook or any. So I think when I look at digital health, I look at access to care and an equitable, like, a way to promote health equity is how I look at digital health. But then I also look at, making sure that we are, the care is provided in such a way that not only it just reaches to everyone, but also the quality is maintained throughout. So that's how when I think of digital health, I think of something like this, and of course leveraging technology. A great example that I think that brought a lot of I'm so sorry. I was expecting an important call and I didn't want to put my phone on silent. So apologies for that. I think an example that I can think of is a Sehat Kahani that was started in Pag. I mean, it's a home project. We all know about it. I think it's a great example. But what I also like is how they expanded, their services and started, reaching out to not just to, like individuals or community members, but also, like different corporations. They included company. They started providing, coverages, health coverages for different organizations. So I think Sehat Kahani really, and I think their notion behind using, female doctors who are usually, we know that the kind of, sometimes the traditional norms are such that women are often asked to take a seat back and, like really take care of home and kids and all that. So I think how they really innovatively used technology to bring that workforce back in the work, but then also, from their home, so that they provided them an environment where they can still function, but also, like not have to worry about leaving their home. I think that's really great. The thought behind it is great.
Great. So yeah, so just to kind of summarize or recap what you're saying, right? So you picked on that first question as well, because I think it is an important question, and Rabia appreciated the question. Thank you for that. Because I think what we tend to get fixated on is definitions of digital health, and we don't realize that there's a lot more to it than what just a definition would kind of limit it. But Asma's point about access and equity is really important, because what it should be doing, and I agree with that, is that it should actually make reduce health inequities or raise health equity, conversely, from that perspective. And then example of like, what's your favorite? I asked, what is your favorite digital health tech approach or technology? And as far as example of Sehat Kahani is telehealth, right? Telehealth related platforms. So increasing equity or engaging or access, let's say, improving access to health or healthcare. And then also, with Sehat Kahani specifically, getting women doctors to kind of get back into the workforce. So great example. And thank you for raising those important points. there's a question by Rabia here. Please recommend, and this is open to both of you. Please recommend for the beginners, if anyone is interested and currently at AKU, what opportunities can one avail or should one avail? Opportunities through Hopkins. Will you be able to get them into Bloomberg School of Public Health? I don't know, just joking. So yeah, what opportunities for beginners of digital health, perhaps? Let's focus the question on digital health. And if anybody's interested currently at AKU or elsewhere, it doesn't have to be only AKU. What opportunities in Europe, what do you think? What are digital opportunities? Perhaps what are virtual opportunities or hybrid or face-to-face? I don't know. What would you recommend?
I can, Rishi, do you want me to go first? Are we still following
I've
alphabetical order?
actually, I was actually going to say I'd let Asma take this because she has a leadership role at the Global Digital, as a Digital Health Society. So I think you'll be able to answer it better. But the one thing I want to mention is at Hopkins, we appreciate collaborations, and there's always some or the other opportunity that can be availed. And I'll let Asma take over and expand.
I think when you talk about thank you, Rishi. Although you have put a lot of pressure on me now I have to like talk all sense, but I'll try. No, I'm just kidding. I think when you talk about opportunities, what you're doing right now is what I was about to say. Like, start joining programs like these, right? That's what I did when I was at AKUH. I would always look up, for what is happening around. I think you have to start from where you are. And if you are, for example, in Karachi or somewhere in Pakistan or a kind of institution, wherever in whichever institution you are in, try to, look for whatever kind of events they're having. In terms of Hopkins, I would say that Hopkins has like, in Bloomberg School of Public Health has like various different kinds of centers. For example, Center for Health Equity, gun violence and prevention and all that. So there are like all sorts of centers, and every center does some sort of work in digital health. Depending on what kind of interest you have, you can always reach out to faculties who are working in that area. Another thing that I would recommend is, I think I recently joined LinkedIn. I'm not a social media person. If it was in my hand, although I'm a big I love digital health and everything. Social media just gives me a lot of anxiety. The kind of, like information, it's overwhelming. But I would say LinkedIn is a great, great resource. I did not quite understand why everybody at my school and why everybody in our career office was like, have your LinkedIn profile up. I was like, why? Why do we need to do that? And, like put stuff about us, which was kind of like self-praising, but I think leveraging that area would be great. And then again, look up for events. I'm happy to, if you would like to connect, I'm happy to chat with you offline as well, or we can connect via emails. I would love to do that. But I would say that if you're interested in digital health, there are multiple forums that are available. I know Sehat Kahani, I was part of one of their WhatsApp groups back home. They would discuss about, various events and stuff. So I would say, try to get in touch with, if you're a student, I think you put it in the chat that you're currently enrolled in an MSPH program at AQH. That's great. Yeah, I would say reach out to your faculty within your school, share with them about your interest, and then you can take it from there.
Yeah, thank you for that. So Rabia, you can connect with Asma. And I was just wondering, okay, so like other than formalized programs, which are master's programs, do you think there are good resources on Coursera that could get you at least familiarized enough with digital health?
I can take that.
Yeah.
So Coursera, yes, but I would also say that there are several certificate programs that are available for people who are part of Hopkins and also not a part of Hopkins. I can post the link for the certificates page of the Bloomberg School of Public Health in the chat in just a minute. But that is available. But definitely, Hopkins, especially Bloomberg, has been notoriously known to have published a lot of these online courses because they believe that even though you're not a part of the university, the education that they give should reach people. And of course, Coursera courses are free unless you want a certificate out of it. So yes, it is available. I'm gonna post the certificates page, but also I'm also happy to connect with anyone, and maybe after the webinar, I'll try and find particular Coursera courses that might be relevant. But yeah, that's the answer from my side. But yeah, I'm gonna post the right.
And I have just posted the link for the Center for Global Digital Health Innovation. People around the world, they collaborate with collaborators around the world. Another thing that I would say, Rabia, is that try to also when you like, for example, you just started networking with us, so use these events like these, try to attend events like these, to sort of connect with people, because you might come across somebody who may share a similar interest, and if that works out, that's great. Another thing that I would say is when you talk about digital health and you're trying to, sort of, I'm talking in from the perspective of collaboration. I didn't have that kind of guidance when I was in Pakistan, but having certain skill sets are really crucial. For example, I would say, like, learn how to code, learn some statistical language, learn a bit about program evaluations, learn about, what the current space of digital health looks like within your country. What are some of the initiatives? Because when you try to talk to the faculty or the people who are already in working in that area, they first want to know what you know about the field, what kind of skill sets can you bring to their team. So while you're like trying to explore and engage in such opportunities, I would say I would highly recommend using this time to build certain skills that then you can then offer or bring to the table when you're having such discussions.
Great, thank you. Thank you both for providing those links. Acha. So Jahangir has a question. Question for Asma. Can digital health promote inequities and health quality being compromised? If yes, how?
Rishi, do you want to, I know this question has been asked to me, but do you want to go first, or you want me to take it? Because I think from India's perspective, you can also talk a lot about, and your with your previous degree exposure also. But I'm happy to take
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
I mean, I can
Yes.
briefly mention certain things that I have felt has improved in the field of inequities and health quality, but I'll keep it brief so that you can add your perspectives to it. So yeah, I personally do believe that digital health can promote inequities and health qualities, and that has been proven with the Ayushman Bharat digital mission. So what the mission mainly did was it was kind of introduced about 4 or 5 years ago, and it leveraged the pandemic situation along with the political scenario that's going on. So what it did is what was lacking in especially the subcontinent, they tried to leverage that. They wanted to make sure health insurance schemes are improved, and the smartphone technology that was already booming, they wanted to leverage that. This was also done in collaboration with several of these digital missions like Aadhaar and I'm not able to remember the other name. So what happens is when people feel that they have the ability to make use of what's going on, I feel like inequity is getting prevented in the first place there, right? Like when you have these new tech, for instance, let's say iPhones. When iPhones came for the first time, not even today, not everyone can afford to get an iPhone. So there's already that divide being created saying, oh, people who can get iPhone, let's say they are like well to do, and there are others who cannot. But then when you have this technology boom that's happening and everyone is able to afford and do that, and you leverage that into getting stuff done for people, I feel like inequities automatically get cut down. That Ayushman Bharat was a very good example where inequities were prevented. But yeah, there are several more that are coming up, and I'm after coming to Hopkins, there's a lot more exposure, and of course, there will be people, and I know people who are from Pakistan, for example, Asma. There's also a couple other people I know personally who want to apply all these things. So I believe in the next 10 years, you will see a lot of inequity, especially in Pakistan, going down. So I'm really excited to see that change. And over to you, Asma.
Thank you, Rishi. I hope whatever you just said, the last few words come true. I will be I feel very fortunate. Although I don't plan to do really big things, I just want to contribute to whatever is being done and, share my part. To your question, if I understood it correctly, you said, can digital health promote inequities and health quality being compromised? If yes, how? So there are a couple of ways that we can see this happening. Of course, if digital health is not leveraged the right way or if not implemented carefully. Falling to what Rishi said, first of all, in terms of accessing disparities, uh, again, not everybody has access to this kind of services that we might leverage to apply some of the skills. So this can certainly create a digital divide, and perhaps those who already are experiencing some sort of some form of disparity or the other in terms of, for example, access to healthcare, it might just exacerbate for them. Another piece that we often tend to ignore is tech literacy. So while we are offering innovative solutions, it is important for us to understand that tech literacy is not equivalent to going to school or having, that primary or secondary or tertiary, whatever level of education. Tech literacy requires for you to, be able to navigate and navigate technology effectively. And while you are bringing those innovative, great ideas, if people do not have the level of tech literacy that is required to implement your strategies or your solutions effectively, you might you might be then, bringing those disparities more to surface. I think another way you can actually not have see health quality being compromised is, again, um, quality of care when it comes to delivery. So for example, when you provide care remotely, there is a very high chance that the quality that the person is receiving, or the quality of skill sets that are being offered, might not be, there should be a way to sort of assess to make sure that the quality is maintained. Another, I think, big challenge that sort of we're seeing, and we've been talking here at Hopkins also about this as students, is data privacy and security. So I think the data that the kind of like things that the digital health space can do, but at the same time the kind of data that it has access to and the information it has access to, there can be challenges around data privacy and security, and this can sort of um, disproportionately, I would say, affect marginalized communities. So maybe those who are already facing some sort of discrimination in healthcare settings might not, be comfortable, especially with, in terms of like when there is, vulnerability to that. And I think the last point that I want to highlight is when you talk about digital health and leveraging is the algorithm. I'm still trying to learn and understand machine learning and all that, but there are like certain algorithms that are used to bring up those solutions, right? And those algorithms can be derived from it depends the kind of representation you have and the kind of access of data that you have. So if that algorithms are not derived from diverse resources, or I would say diverse representation, then you might get some biases that may be introduced to your system. So I think these are some of the ways you can really compromise quality of care when you try to apply digital health. And I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Jahangir, did I answer your question?
Yes, Dr. Asad. It was completely answered, and I got it with a different perspective. How we can tackle the problem and how we can go to and how we can bring solution to different problems which we are having. But actually, I'll have a second question if there is time.
Yeah, please go.
So
Go for it.
okay. So my question is again from Asma, and it is like we discuss as she discussed about the data privacy related thing. So in Pakistani context, there is a lot of problem related to the policies of data privacies and things, and there is political instability. So how we can balance that political, like the chaos that is around with the country is being politically unstable. So how we can create policies for that in terms that we should have policies that are strong enough to to withhold that innovation of ours being unstable. Like if there is if the political situation is unstable in the country and there is a lot of chaos and you are doing an innovation and you want to bring the data safety and security for the patient, so how is it possible to bring that safety and security in unstable political situation?
Great. That's a great question. Thank you for asking, Jahangir. And I appreciate you participating actively in the conversation. It really helps us keep going. I would say that first of all, and I hope I can do justice to your question because it's a great question. And Rishi, please feel free to chime in. I would say first educating ourselves. So understanding what so like when we're trying to like address certain issue, our first intention is always is there's an issue and I want to provide solution. You know, we always sometimes forget, I think we almost always forget that there might be some existing solutions that are present which are not being applied correctly. So I would first say try to sort of educate yourself in terms of understanding what existing policies are in place and why they are not effective. And there's a reason why you want to work towards this because you think that certain thing is not working given the political instability and all that. So first, educating yourself about existing policies and why they are ineffective. And I think you can take it from that piece and then take it from there. When you say why they are not effective, then you can perhaps try to leverage. I think another important thing that I would say is I would really, reinforce is collaboration. In situations like these where you're seeing political instability or you're talking about, policies not working, bringing people in your group who have certain skill sets. I don't know, I feel like, and again, I'm just talking from my experience. I may be wrong, so I do not want to represent everyone and anyone here. But I think a lot of time we are hesitant to collaborate because we're like, oh, I don't want to share my ideas with anyone. But one thing that I've learned after coming to Hopkins is if you want to be successful in whatever you're trying to do, learn to collaborate. The more you collaborate, the more exposure you get, the more power you get in terms of bringing your ideas to turning them into reality. So I would say try to, get in touch with people who have some, knowledge of law. Try to get in touch with people who are in health policy already, somebody probably in political science. And then because you have your health, you have your healthcare knowledge and expertise, together you can come and bring this perhaps some sort of framework or something where you have policies and you have certain outcomes you want to target and then some context you want to bring in, and then maybe starting with the framework might be a good idea. But I would really emphasize on this notion of collaboration, which is not very much promoted. And I would say that it is something that is the need of the hour, especially now that the way the technology is evolving. If you really want to bring a change, collaborate.
Yeah, I can add a little bit to what Asma said. Two things, planning and collaboration. Planning is essentially decision about a course of action, and that's one of the most important components of public health in general because you cannot execute anything if you don't have a plan. That is very important. The second point about collaboration is I truly believe Hopkins has changed us, and I'm happy about this positive change. It's important to, like, we meet people from so many different professions, everyone getting into the culmination of health as an outcome. So collaborate with people of different professions, because if there is a political instability, it's important to get perspective from a policy person, from an economics person, from a doctor, from an innovator, from a programmer. There are so many things you can do, but also collaborate with people who are not from your place. Because let's say there is political instability in Pakistan, should collaborate with people from Pakistan, but there is a component of emotion attached. When you have things like these, emotion takes over. So I feel like talking to people from different countries where there have been political instabilities and who have successfully come out of the instability, I think that is very important. And also collaborating with countries where the government is stable, so that you can get perspectives on how to keep things stable. Or of course, like, there are certain things that are out of our power, but then the best thing you can do is how to get those outcomes out of it and not get affected by these things that are happening. So I truly believe collaborate with people from different professions and places across the world, people with different power-based positions in the world. So that in planning and collaboration, that's kind of what I would say too. But great question.
I agree.
Thank you, Harsh.
Hey everyone, my name is Zanindra and I'm gonna be doing a rapid fire round with you people, and I'm just gonna take like 10 to 5 minutes. It depends on you guys how rapid you're gonna answer. This one's for the moderators as well as the panelists. And my first question would be with wait. My first question is last book that you read. Anybody can start with the answering.
Last book that I wrote was Michelle Obama's Becoming.
I could not hear the question. Sorry.
What was the last book that you read?
Last book I read.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book on. I'm still not finished it. I'm reading a book on ethics. It's about the theories in ethics. That's what I was reading last. Yeah.
Dr. Sub, you also have to answer. You forgot. Your mic is off.
I put it in the chat space, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I'm reading it. I started it a few weeks back. It's a great book.
Question number 2. One tech you cannot live without.
I wish I could live without my phone. I would do it in a second without even thinking about it.
Us women.
But I would definitely say phone, yeah, because I need to talk
Yeah.
to my mom.
I would have said phone, but I think internet or laptop in general, because working without it is almost close to impossible.
I was going to say that. I said phone, but then I was like, oh, we need to do our assignments and connect on Zoom, so laptops, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Podcast or book?
You forgot Dr. Asad. Did Dr. Asad want to answer?
Okay, yeah. He doesn't.
Sorry. Oh, my
Yeah.
question was what tech I would not be able
I
to
know
live
his answer,
without.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT as a tech, OpenAI, generative AI. No, actually, I was just was thinking about it. It's like, no, phone, no, not the phone. I mean, it's not. I couldn't think of anything else. I don't know. I thought of like, okay, technology, toothbrush. Is that considered technology? Toothbrush.
No.
Can't live without my toothbrush.
Maybe.
Someone says
Electric toothbrush.
toothbrush.
I would somewhat agree there, yeah.
someone says
Okay.
Medjack. That is interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that
Oh.
was to the last question. What book have you read recently? I
Oh,
think Jahangir
yes.
was addressing that. But then
okay.
maybe it is technology. Maybe he meant technology.
As well,
Thank
yeah.
you. Medjack is technology.
Yes.
It's also.
Okay, so I heard the next question, so I'm happy to take that first.
Yeah, sure.
Podcast or book? I think it depends on the time of the day. When I'm traveling, podcast. When I'm stable in a place, book. But I think books have been so close to my heart. I've read books all my life. I think books.
Good answer.
I heard the last podcast you said your question was the last podcast or the book or
No,
something?
it was do you prefer podcast or books?
Oh, I think I would agree to Rishi. It really depends. If I'm like working on some assignment or writing a paper or something, then I like to listen to a podcast in the background to keep myself motivated. Otherwise, if I need a downtime or something, I like to read a book.
Okay. Doctor, would you like to take that?
Me? Netflix.
And chill. Okay. Early bird or
I
night owl?
learn a lot. I learn a lot from Netflix.
Yeah, true.
Especially there is
Okay.
an explained series on Netflix where different topics have like videos of 10-15 minutes. It's called Explained. You just search on Netflix. That is brilliant to learn.
Explain. Okay.
Explained, yeah.
Okay, next question. Early bird or night owl? When working on a project or
Night owl.
something.
Night owl.
Early bird.
Oh,
Although I
okay.
turn into night owl frequently, but yeah, I wish there was a term in between. But yeah, I would. My goal in life is to be an early bird. Yeah, I would definitely say early bird. Yes.
I
I think
would
I
say
think
night
everybody
owl is not
should
healthy,
choose.
but
Oh.
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Sat.
No. Go ahead. No. That's fine. That's fine. No, I was just wondering if Eamon is going to tell us or Rabia as well, because Jangi
Of course,
said he's a night owl.
I think every student is a night owl.
Very true, very true. When you're in the student era, I think it's more towards being a night owl. I don't know. Not sure, but it's a yes, I'm a night owl.
I know we're on this time check, but I just do want to add one thing here while we are talking about digital health and everything. I like to do what I call like preaching every now and then when I like people are just talking and having discussion, and I'll be like, let's talk about this. But no, I'm just gonna take 2 seconds, and not 2 seconds, actually five, because I would just say try as much as we want to like bring innovation and everything. We need to start with ourselves first, and work on understanding what kind of quality of life do you want. And because I think we often forget that while we're trying to do all of this, there is so much that we're compromising. And I think since coming to Hopkins, my interest in aging has gone to like I feel like I've become so much more interested in aging. And as I'm learning more and more about brain, I think it is important for us to understand that our brain, and like I would say in terms of mind, it really works the way we treat it, you know so while it's great to be a night owl, and I'm not saying that don't be a night owl, work on understanding what kind of quality of life do you want for yourself. Are you eating well? Are you nourishing yourself? Are you taking healthy breaks? Take care of your mental health. And just sitting and revisiting your goals every now and then in terms of your own quality of life is as important as you're taking as much as taking care of others. Yeah, I'll stop there.
I totally second that. Even I'd like to take those 5 seconds that Asma got so that there is equity. But yeah, but what Asma added, I really think the circadian clock and the molecular clock are related. And the more you follow what the nature gives us, the day-night cycle, even cancer does not develop if you follow a good circadian rhythm and let your body get fixated to that. And this is not a book, but then this is something I read 2 days ago because for my cancer biology exam, that these two are so closely related, and just a disruption of this rhythm for a few weeks or even months can cause a lot of havoc.
Very
Yeah,
well
that's
said.
That was very
very
nice and helpful. We'll try to like work towards it.
the discussion has taken a very interesting turn. So digital preaching, digital evangelism, advocacy, what other kind of phrases, and I can throw out more phrases, but it is interesting, right? So Rishi said, like he mentioned that as an EM physician, I must be a night owl, and I wish I was because I am such an early bird. All my life, all my med school, residency, fellowship, I could not function with night shifts. And I end up becoming an ER physician, and I only was doing night shifts while I was still in the US and then in the Iraq for 10 years. I had no night shift. November onwards, I've been given night shifts, and I'm all over the place now. So my circadian rhythms have gone down the drain, and it's not out of choice. It's almost like I don't have a choice. I have to do night shifts. Not as many as I was doing in the US, though. But it is from the cancer perspective. So Rishi, from cancer biology or cancer pathology perspective, is it so? If you're doing night shifts, you're more likely to end up with cancer. What kind of cancer? Like some specific cancer or like all kinds of cancer?
Okay, so if you want me to go a little bit into the details, I can, but then let me know if it might become a little overwhelming. Should I get into? You're muted, Dr. Asad.
Well, it's up to Eamon is kind of emceeing and ensuring that we're on time, but I'm fine with time. No, go ahead
No,
and tell
sure,
us
sure,
about
sure.
it.
Go ahead. It's actually this poll results is just for the audience to cater to while you speak up.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So what exactly happens is there's something called BMAL clock. It's a bridge of two proteins that maintains this metabolism in the body. And during the day, what happens is it's an active phase. So cells divide, the fission is happening, mitochondria gets used up, and during the nighttime, everything gets switched, things recover, and all of that. And that's exactly how cortisol and melatonin cycle kind of alternate with each other. Now, when this gets disrupted, there's a particular protein called MYC. So it's a MYC max complex, and there's another protein called mTOR. So what MYC does is there's a transcriptional activation that's happening, which is going to make sure P53, which is a tumor suppressor, that doesn't function. So any genomic defect that is there will not get detected because P53 is not functioning well anymore. Similarly, post-transcriptionally, mTOR takes over and makes sure what happens in a 24-hour cycle gets disrupted, and there is an arrhythmic cycling that happens, and it kind of from 24 it becomes a 36-hour shift. So what should have gotten back within a day only comes back after 1.5 days, and you should be able to understand how that messes up the body. And because P53 is involved, and P53 is almost a quintessential protein that we need for prevention of any type of cancer, you're at risk for almost every type of cancer if you don't follow a rhythm. So I think I'll stop there. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties, but I think this will be a good basic perspective to have.
Rishi, now you're making me regret why didn't I take the cancer biology class, especially now that I'm graduating. It sounds so interesting, and I love how
Yeah,
you
it's a
broke,
fantastic class.
yeah, I love how you
Yeah.
broke down the information for us. That's great.
Thank you so much for
Oh.
such an enlightening answer
Thank
to
you.
your. Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Yeah, so in my opinion, Dr. Asad's response to that toothbrush wala, that was very innovative in its approach. Like everyone was thinking that we cannot survive without mobile, without laptop, and many things. And we were looking into a tech which were like very common. But being a toothbrush, it was very interesting and innovative. And also it brings a perspective that in innovation we don't have to look like for big things. Many of the times we look for very big solutions and big things. Sometimes it is like the smallest change in the smallest innovation that can bring a lot of change. So that was very interesting. And also adding to it, like Asma and Harish talk about collaboration. So I think collaboration start from here. Like if we are so like all the people who are listening to this discussion, they are someone who is interested in innovation and bringing solutions. So I think collaboration starts from here. Let's be our collaborators, and we will put our best to bring solution to the doorstep of LMICs.
Jahangir, can I ask you a quick question? Do you mind sharing your background with us? What do you
Yeah,
do?
sure.
Yeah.
So I'm a BSc second year student here at Aga Khan School of Nursing.
Oh, great.
Here at
I
yeah.
see. Are you
And
are you in your dormitory right now, like in your dorm room or something?
yeah,
These walls look like really familiar. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm here, and I'm interested in healthcare innovation and being connected with Dr. Asad. He's like my mentor and much more than that.
That's
And
great.
actually, I belong to the remote areas of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and there is a lot of health disparities and a lot of things going on. So, being through Talibanization and terrorism, through all that era, so that had put a lot of things in my mind, and I really want to work and bring solution to the doorstep of Pakistan, and especially Khyber Pakhtunkhwa peoples and population.
Yeah. The place where you live back home, have you seen
Yeah.
elderly? Like, do you have like older population there? Like, where you live, जहाँ आप रहते हैं, वहाँ पे, like how many people do, like I would say you can perhaps just start doing more like every time
Okay.
you go back home, you can probably do like workshops with them, like just bring them together, offer them a cup of tea, and sit down and talk to them about hearing loss, for example, something I'm very passionate about. Okay, why hearing loss is there and why it is so important for us to detect it. So you can start from like very basic things, like we just talked about the toothbrush example. You can just bring your class together and be like, once a week we're going to take like a mental health break, and make it like a mandatory mental health break. Talk to your perhaps your student committee or student organization and send them like, hey, can we send like weekly mental health reminders through an email or something. So I think what you're so passionate about things that you don't really have to, and I would just again reinforce on this, because this is something that Hopkins has really taught me, and I'm sure Rishi will also agree. For you to be able to make those impactful big changes, you don't have to do something big. You don't have to go get a big grant and like get things on. You can start with like super basic things. Go step outside, look around, what is that one thing you want to like change within, say some periphery, and then just take it from there. And I hope that whatever you're passionate about, you get and you achieve, and you have a great mentor, so I think you're pretty set here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That's a lot
I
of pressure
totally
on
agree.
me. A lot of pressure on me. Thank you so
It's
much
always
for
good to put pressure on
putting so
mentors, I
much pressure.
think.
Yeah.
Well, that's very nicely articulated. Thank you. Actually, that's very well said, and um, I'm very appreciative of Jahangir speaking up. He always listens in, and now he's speaking up. So it's progression.
But
That is
sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
go
interrupt. No,
ahead,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, that's okay. You can go first.
So this is what mentor does, and this is what I'm doing the progress and all the things. It is because of my mentor. So I don't want to put a lot of pressure. I just want to push.
I would do say one thing about mentors, and I always make a point, to share whenever I can. The reason why I'm at Hopkins is not, I mean, yes, a part of me always wanted to come to Hopkins, the student inside me, because I come from a very humble background, but I think a lot of credit goes to Dr. Asad Latif, who I had the opportunity to work with when I was at AKUH. He was trained at Hopkins, and I still remember talking to him about my passion for public health and becoming a physician scientist and blah blah blah. And he's like, "Oh, so you applying to Hopkins?" And I'm like, "Oh, you think I will go to? I mean, like you have this thing like, will I be able to make it? But having a mentor who believes in you, who think that you can achieve what you wish to, is so important. And I would say that work on building that relationship, because often what happens is that we reach out to someone for something when that job is done. We're like, okay, it's not like something we're doing intentionally, but it's always good to stay in touch, keep your mentor updated about your progress, try to find out ways to connect and collaborate, and always go back to your mentor with the knowledge that you have learned to look ways you can collaborate and bring more I would say exciting things for the world to see. So yeah, I think you are pretty set. I don't think you have to worry too much. You just have to do the hard work. And I'm sure Dr. Mia will help you reach places you want to reach.
Inshallah, I'll put my hand up.
That was really interesting. Thank you, Changi, for actually interacting. And this has been what we were actually looking forward to in our webinars. So if Dr. Said, if you would allow, since the conversation is getting very interesting, I have this very I think it's a very essential question that should now be considered for the audience with Asma. So may I ask the question?
Please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. I didn't realize. Yes, please.
Okay. So, Asma, I have this question that since you've been, emphasizing on the fact that go forward to, pursue, what you're actually looking for and find a solution towards a certain problem. So here's my question. I'd really like to ask that. So, for those who are digital health enthusiasts, and for them, is it really a necessity to be a tech-savvy person, or is it that other things combined with the expertise in the field of tech and healthcare, along with the innovation, creativity, and the very essential factor that I think you also have it within you, because since you have been actually bringing that up again and again sublimely, the factor of empathy. So do you think that these things also combine along with having your expertise in tech and healthcare while you're looking forward to a solution in digital health? So please emphasize on that for our audience, because I really get to see these things and I really want you to enlighten us in that.
Thank you. I appreciate your question. Again, these are such great questions. I don't know how you guys did you guys like just sit together and we're gonna ask these questions and we'll make sure that that's a great question. And I'm very confident that Rishi will bring great insights to it because I know the kind of work he's doing. So I will try to answer a bit and then perhaps ask Rishi to chime in.
Sure. Please do.
I would first of all say, and again, this is all coming from my learning in the past 2 years. So I've always been very passionate about leveraging community health workers in Pakistan, which are like a force that is neglected, to and helping and bringing them in the scene by and using them to promote vaccine coverage and all that. But that's one thing I want to do, right? But how do I do it? So I think first of all, it's really important to not underestimate the power of knowledge and understanding of the subject matter. And that doesn't come only from observing and being passionate and having empathy, right? So I would first say start by reading and educating yourself, bringing literacy to yourself about that particular matter that you're passionate about. To your question about can we work in digital health without being tech savvy? I wish I could say no, but the answer is sorry. I wish I could say yes, but the answer is no. I don't think you can work fully because you will not get the better idea of what the problem is like, especially if you don't know how to react to it or what is causing it. So having that understanding is really important. And I feel like now that there's so much that's happening, you can always find what works best for you. And this can be, like probably a topic of interest to your forum or to Dr. Mia, where we can chat with students, nursing or medical students about what skill sets to have when you're trying to venture in digital health. So I would say having that tech skills and knowledge is really important. The third thing I would say is again learning how to, circling back to what we said about collaboration, but then how to collaborate is also one thing. It's like, okay, I identified that these people I need to collaborate with, but the first question that they're going to ask you is, what is your solution about it, and what is your background, and what do you think are the possible methods that you're going to leverage to bring this to make this happen. So yes, having empathy is great, having ideas are great, but educating yourself about the matter and learning those necessary skills are as important as anything else. And Rishi.
Yeah, sure. So my points are similar, but yet slightly different. So of course, it's important to stay committed to learning and attain the skills. But I also believe empathy is important, because to do something uh, important for the society, you need to be motivated, and motivation is usually driven by empathy. The reason I say that is I'm in cancer research today, and I feel the most important factor that made me decide that I want to get into this is 15 years ago, I lost my grandfather to AML. And I really wish technology and medicine was more advanced back then. And I wish he was there with me today. But that's not the case. And that I've been in that situation. I I know what it feels like to lose someone. That motivates me to make sure there are no other people in the world who have to lose people. And that's what motivates me to do the work that I do today. And 15 years, then many things have changed in my life, but one thing that hasn't changed is my passion to work towards cancers, and it'll always stay the same. That is the first thing. Second thing, we are smart beings. We are hard-working people, but we are definitely smart workers too. So that's why addressing real needs with Jugaad innovations, which Dr. Rasad focused on even during his when he was the panelist with us, that's very important. But one last thing that I would like to conclude with, and this is one of my favorite quotes, and it's from one of my favorite, most revolutionary people, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was the president of India, who was a great educator, and one among many of the things he achieved is dream, 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 dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts result in action. So what I would say is, don't ever think that you cannot achieve something. You want to get into Hopkins, the best public health school or medical school in the world. Apply. Don't underestimate yourself. You can make it. If we all could, you all can. That's what I would like to conclude with.
And sorry, I just want to add, first of all, shout out to Dr. Kalam because I'm a huge fan too, and often go back and listen to his speeches and stuff. So I think he's a great. Uh, yeah, I just want to like add one thing here. If you are passionate about doing something, you will find your way out. But what you have to really do is not, I wouldn't say like reach out to people, take advices, but do not get demotivated by those who've not walked that path before you. Okay. People's experiences can be both encouraging and discouraging. At the end of the day, you have to sit down and think, what you want? Okay. And there will always be someone to guide you and to help you if you are the first person to believe in yourself. Nobody else has to do it for you. Trust me. Your mentor will, because that's their job. The first thing that a mentor has to do is believe in their mentee. But what you have to do is believe in yourself when nobody else is believing. And you should be the first person applauding yourself and clapping yourself, even if nobody claps for you. That's fine. So everything, kudos to everything what Rishi said, and start in believing in yourself is something you need to do if you want to change. Yeah, and bring a change actually.
Thank you. that was very well captured. Sorry, Eamon, you
No,
want
no,
to?
sorry.
No, I was just saying,
Continue.
just like very inspirational messages. Thank you very much. And back to Eamon.
Thank you so much for the answers by Asma and Vishik. It was really insightful and enlightening as well. So for the audience, and I consider this to be a very insightful session for this evening. I'd actually look up for a very small and suitable take-home message by our guests. If they could just in one word or two, both of them, and then we'll close the session.
I think I can go first, and it's going to be what I had already mentioned. Embrace a culture of innovation, leverage multidisciplinary collaborations, and stay committed to learning. And don't forget to dream big. That's it.
Can you, sorry, do you mind repeating the last part of the question for me?
So I just want you to give us a take-home message for the audience, just one line or
Oh.
anything that you consider.
I would say, yeah, believe in yourself. Innovation doesn't have to be complicated, big. It always has to start simple and start from home. Before you go and change the world, change home. And if you change home and yourself, you can change the world too. Because changing yourself is the hardest part.
That was really powerful. Thank you so much. So to sum up and to conclude with the session for this evening, I'd rather say that on the aspects of digital frontiers, we must believe in the power of our individuality, innovation, and collaboration to continue with whatever we are dreaming of. Until next time, thank you so much for today's evening, and we'll be back again in the next session of the Medjack. Thank you so much,
you.
everyone.
And just
Thank
want to
you for
give a
this
shout out
opportunity.
to Dr. Mia and team for having such great series. I'm sure anyone who is involved in part of it and people who are, receiving the benefits, it's such a great addition to the medical community and the healthcare community back home, and I think globally too. So kudos to you all.
Thank you so much, Asma.
Appreciate it.
That was really.
And
Thank
thank you
you.
for the opportunity for
Yes.
letting us be the panelists, flipping the table. I was really grateful for the opportunity. I never thought that I could be a panelist, but this session has helped me a lot as well, and a lot of inspirational words from everyone, including Asma, Dr. Asad, and Jahangir, and Ayman, and everyone. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Asad.
No,
Yeah,
you're very welcome.
And Rabia, please feel free to reach out. I still remember we have to connect. So Dr. Asad has my email address. If you want, I'm happy to put it in chat for you as well. And anyone who would love to connect, I'm happy to, we can always, brainstorm on ideas where how we can collaborate. And yeah, and I also want to, I know we're running out of time, but I also wanted to take a moment to thank all the educators at Hopkins. I feel like our so much that we've talked today comes from the learning that we have received here and the kind of friendships and the relationships we have built. Rishi is from India and I'm from Pakistan, and this just shows the power of the collaboration and digital health bringing people together. That Rishi was a panelist at a on a forum that is taking place live from Pakistan. So I think this just goes to show that it doesn't divide, it brings people together. So thank you so much.
Certainly.
I'm really striving to get a visa to visit Pakistan once in my life. So how Hopkins has really brought all of us together, and I'm grateful for that as well.
Well, sir, I know this has gone way past. Okay, so this is really interesting, right? Just a few recap points, and I'm trying not to be too protracted in summary points, but this is the 4th year of Medjack webinars. It's not a new thing. We've been doing this year in, year out since the digital ebook was launched back in 2021. And soon after that, a few months after that, we launched the print copy of the book. in Pakistan, and so 4 years of experience, and we kind of struggled with. I've kind of struggled with, and team kind of comes in and goes out, and so thanks to Eamon and Zonera, who actually are not employed by CCIT, by AQU. I'm the only employee of AQU right now. Jahangir is a student, and CCIT doesn't exist, by the way. CCIT is the innovation incubation platform or hub, and I would say we lost our funding. The university decided that's not going to fund us from Jan onwards of this year. But it's interesting to me that in all of these years that we've kind of considered, okay, how do we interact? How do we get people to interact, right? So we have these webinars, and we do these like once or maybe twice a month at times. We've had like all the way from like 5 people to 20 plus or 30 people. Today, we've had like what, 6, 7 of us over here, out of which 3, 4 of us are like supporting the platform, and the rest of you are audience slash guest speakers, right? So it's a challenge for me to figure out, okay, how does one show impact of something like this, right? And your digital health people or digital health gurus for me, because I mean, so Rishi, you said, oh, it's a great thing, it's a big thing for me to be a panelist, and I'm like, why do we consider ourselves not to be at that stage that we could be panelists, right? You have your expertise, you're a dentist by profession, you've done interpersonal violence, gender-based violence, you've been part of entities in India or outside of India, which is not my expertise area at all. Asma, you've done great things already. So yes, you're graduate students, doesn't take away from what you've already achieved, okay? And so I think I don't know whether I'm making any point here, but we've had more interaction in this one session than we've had in the majority of webinars, right? Because those tend to be conversations between myself and the speaker, or 2 panelists and myself. But there's been more interaction through Jahangir and Rabia. And so I think if you both of you, like, if you're really interested by this kind of a platform, it is a digital health platform. Even the webinar itself is digital health. We're talking about healthcare through different avenues, right? And so it's a digital means of communication. And India and Pakistan, we cannot have face-to-face sessions. It's sad, but it is a reality of the world we are living in. Late 20th century, when I moved to the US, it was the same thing. I mean, I think this is nothing new, India and Pakistan, right? Dramabazi hai, whatever, right? So, okay, fine. But I had friends in Houston when I was going to grad school in Houston, who were Indian descent, who were grad students in Houston at Baylor. So we get to interact face to face there, but here we are interacting digitally, and why can't we have more people interacting, right? So think about, okay, how can we do these things so that we get perhaps more people to consider coming to these webinars. Anyways, I don't know whether I made any specific point or it was kind of rambling, but yes, it is interesting that you point out that here's India and Pakistan, right? So we have so many similar issues, but then we always, I mean, as a Pakistani American sitting in Pakistan, I'm like, India has so much to teach us in Pakistan, right? Because innovation, Jugaad innovation frameworks, and so on and so forth, right? Incubation, entrepreneurship, enterprise, social innovation. India is a lot ahead, and in a lot of other things, actually, right? So belaboring the point, I guess, but let's think about how we can actually get more people to consider this. And yeah, digital platforms and digital health could be a uniting cohesive force as well, versus fancy webinar, or, fancy grants or something where, I don't know, what's the impact? I keep going back to that point. Okay, what is the impact, and what's the impact of what we are doing through webinars and other things? And right, so I already see a lot of impact of this conversation we've had today. So thank you for being here. I gotta go, okay? I've done my year shift and I'm going to run away from this hospital right now.
Okay, so that was really insightful by both of our guests and in fact Dr. Asami as well. I'd rather say that again, this was actually a motto of CCIT that innovation doesn't happen in silos, and it's very true because collaboration is needed in whatever pursuits you're actually going for. Especially if it comes to healthcare, because nothing is in terms of innovation or any new solution is possible if there isn't any collaboration. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to part 2 maybe, because since the conversation has been so interesting. Thank you, Dr. Azad. Thank you to Asma and Rishik for joining us and giving us such a beautiful session for the evening. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye bye.